back to my channel. If you are new here, please subscribe and click the little bell so you get notified. Today I am working on a teacher cup. Now I decided to do this one because this cup has been very popular. It's really simple. It's mostly just water slides. I just use a single white glitter, which is Pearl. I found this at Glitter Trend. It's not the mother of Pearl, it's a different one. It's just called Pearl. And it is absolutely beautiful. Here, let me show you. I already have one completed. So, this is it. It is a cute cup. I've had a few orders for it, so I figured I'd make a tutorial because people are just loving it. So first, I am going to start off. Let me grab some fresh paper real quick. Just a minute. Okay, I got some fresh paper. Okay, I'm going to start off with my Mod Podge because that is how I apply my glitter. You can use the Brite Tone or Extreme Protection if that's how you choose to apply your glitter. I personally like using Mod Podge. Don't ask me why, I just do. It's how I've always made my cups. So you just coat this really well. You don't want a thick layer. You just want a thin, smooth layer. You want it smooth because you can see any bumps. Your glitter will bunch up if there's any ridges. So you want it nice and smooth. If you hear my children in the background, sorry. I have 4 little, so it gets pretty loud around here. My place is not huge by any means, so you're bound to hear someone in the background at some point during one of my videos. You might hear crying, you might hear laughing, you might hear yelling. It just depends on the mood they're in. I try to do my videos when it's more peaceful, but usually I am doing orders, so I need to still get them done in a reasonable time, so I just record when I can or when I'm ready to do the next step. Remember, you want it to be smooth. You don't want any major lines because it will show up. Your glitter will show, it'll show through. Especially once you add the Brite Tone. The Brite Tone does magnify any imperfections. So you want it to look as perfect as you can get it. And if you have to add, I try to only do 1 coat, but every now and then I do end up having to put another coat. So I try to do what I can with just 1 coat. I try to work fast so that I only need 1 coat. And I do try and touch up spots that need more than or more glitter because Mod Podge does dry fast. But so does the Brite Tone and the Extreme Protection. They dry fast as well. I feel like they probably dry a little bit faster. I'm not certain though because I don't use them. I have used them. I've used the Extreme Protection before. But like I said, I prefer it this way. Oh, I'm just making a mess. there's like a couple spots where I want to touch up. So what I do is I just lightly dab some on there. I think it's just those right there. And then take a finger and I lightly dab it because I want to get the excess off. I don't want too much of this on there. I don't want it thick. I swiped my finger off on paper. I don't want it thick. So just add my glitter. So just kind of, oops, fill in those spots. Now I have not done the bottom yet. I will do that. And I do notice like at the top a little bit. There's a couple spots. I could use some touching up. Like if there's only a few spots, then I just touch them up. But if like the cup is pretty splotchy, then I would just like do a second layer. But there's no sense in doing a second layer just for a few touch-ups. Like I feel like that would just be wasteful to the glitter. Okay. I always use paper under to catch any glitter so you can save it, because glitter is not cheap, especially not the high quality stuff, not this stuff. I mostly use Glitter Chimp, and their prices are fairly reasonable, but compared to like if you were to go to Michael's, sorry about my kids, like if you use Michael's or store brand glitter, it's not as great of a quality. This is polyester glitter. What you find in the store usually is craft glitter. You can find some polyester. I think Spin It is a polyester that you can buy in the store. I'm not really certain if there's any other brands that have polyester, but I do know of Spin It. I've never used Spin It, so I can't really say on how well their glitters do. But I really like my Glitter Chimp glitter. It works really well under Brite Tone. Alright, well this part is done, so I'm going to let this dry really well. For my base, I did just sand it really well and washed it off with Dawn, and then I sprayed with a white top or clear coat, or a white primer. I use Rust-Oleum. It needs to gas off for 24 to 48 hours. I find mine is gassed off within 24 hours. I can't say for any other brands, but Rust-Oleum is usually good after 24 hours. Sorry, I'm gonna go. I'll see you guys in a bit. Alrighty, well, I sprayed my cup with a clear coat. I use Rust-Oleum, and it takes about 24 hours for that to gas off. Depending on your spray, it could take up to 48 hours. I am going to add my first layer of Brite Tone. You want your layers no thicker than 2 sheets of paper. The first layer is going to be thicker than your others because if you're going over glitter, because the glitter will soak up some. Sorry, my children are in my room at the moment, so you will hear them throughout this section. So I'm just gonna coat it. Now I like to apply with my finger because I can feel where there's no Brite Tone, so it makes it easy. Remember, you don't want it really thick. You don't want it to drip off your cup. This is not epoxy. It does not dry the same way as epoxy. So you want thin layers because it dries by evaporating. The liquids will evaporate, leaving the solids behind. I use the Brite Tone instead of the Extreme Protection because even though it's pricier, it builds up faster because there's more solids in it. So I just kind of find it pointless buying the Extreme Protection. I'd rather just spend my money on the one and have it build up faster and not take as long. I felt like with the Extreme Protection, it was taking forever to build up. But I can get this after the third coat. I sand it, I lightly sand it, and then apply one more layer and it's ready for my water slide. If I'm doing vinyl, then I wait 2 or 3 more layers until it's more smooth. But I apply my water slide before it's super smooth because I feel like it adheres better and there's less chance of seeing the edges, but it's all about what you prefer. I wouldn't try and apply it while there's like hardcore glitter. You want it mostly smooth. Okay, this is covered well. It's not dripping. It's perfect. So I am going to let it spin. Now since it's over the glitter, directly over the glitter, it's going to take a little longer to spin because it is a little bit thicker than what you normally would apply. So it'll spin a little longer. I'll probably do it for like an hour and a half to 2 hours, depending. I'll touch the bottom. Usually I'm good about an hour and a half. And then you can reapply about 4 hours if you do it over glitter, directly over glitter. And then every layer after that is every 3 hours. I'll see you guys in a bit. Oh, I did that. Hello, I am back to do another layer. I did a layer, not on camera, I forgot to record it, but this is my last layer before I sand. Remember, you want it to be no thicker than 2 sheets of paper. You do not want it running off your cup. Now with a bare finger you can feel where there's no product. Don't mind my dirty nails. I was cleaning something and the dirt just doesn't want to come out from under there. They're almost completely wet. You want your cup wet, but not dripping wet. And what I do to get the bottom is either put some on here if there's not a whole lot, or if I notice like my cup is pretty wet, I'll just run my finger and then swipe that on the bottom. Like that. Just so it's not too wet. And then I'll wipe it on the bottom really good. Sorry, I got some drippage from my... We are good. So when I come back, I'll already have the cup sanded. You want to use 400 grit sandpaper to lightly sand. And then after that's done, I will apply one more layer and then apply my water slides. I like to apply my water slides before it's completely smooth. It'll be mostly smooth, like it's not real rough, like you can't feel the glitter. I mean, you can feel it, but it's not, it's like a smooth rough, if that makes sense. I can't really explain it. When you start, you'll understand what I'm talking about when you get to that point, but it's not fully smooth, but it's not rough. All right, I'll see you guys in just a bit. Hello, I'm back and ready to sand. So I have my 3 coats. So now it's time to lightly sand. This is 300 grit sandpaper. And you just lightly sand, like you don't put much pressure at all. Just lightly sand around the whole cup. You'll notice like it's kind of smooth. It's not like smooth, but it's a lot less rigid. Like I can't really explain it. It's kind of smooth, but it's not like glass smooth. Do that around the whole cup. You can tell if you missed a spot because it won't be the smooth consistency, and also like you can tell like this is very glittery, like, and this is kind of dull, but don't worry, the dull will come back once, or the sparkle will come back when you apply more Brite Tone. I've got only a little bit of cup left. Besides the bottom, don't forget your bottom. Make sure you do your bottom as well. You want a nice smooth bottom. I like to do this too. It helps get this bottom part a little bit better, because with it being the little lip, sometimes it's not easy to get that part. You'll notice like a lot of the shine is gone, and that is okay. You should wear a mask when you're sanding, just because there are particles in the air and you don't want those particles in your lungs. Okay, so once you're done, I like to rinse mine with water, a little bit of water. This is good. And then I dry it off immediately after. So I'm gonna go do that now. Okay, I'm back. As you can see, even just rinsing it off gave it its sparkle back. The reason it was so dull was because of the sanding particles, the powder from sanding. So that's why I like to rinse it off really well. Make sure I get all of that off, and then I dry it with the towel and make sure no fuzzies are left behind. But now it is a lot smoother than it was. It's not as rigid. You can still feel the glitter, like you can still slightly feel it. It's not 100% smooth, but it's a lot smoother than it was. So now what I'm going to do is apply another layer of Brite Tone over this, and this will get it to where I want it for my water slide. It'll be almost completely smooth, but not quite. This helps me to use a little less Brite Tone because by the time it is completely smooth, my water slide will be completely covered and you won't be able to feel it, although the water slides you can't really feel because they are pretty thin, at least the ones I use. Yeah, so it'll be perfect. You don't have to do any sanding besides, well, I guess you do have to do a little, probably sand 1 or 2 more times just to make sure it's perfectly smooth. But yeah, it's super close. Now this is like my favorite time because it's no longer rough against my finger, and if you got sensitive skin like me, rough things do not feel very good. Or even, that might just be everyone, but my skin is pretty sensitive to feeling, so yeah. So I think we're fully covered. It feels pretty smooth and wet. So I'm gonna let this spin for 3 hours, or I'm gonna let it spin for an hour, but I'm gonna let it dry for 3 hours, and then I'll come back and apply my decals, my water slides. So I'll see you guys in just a little while and get that going. See you in a bit. Hello, so I sort of forgot to record putting on 2 of my layers, so I am going to do my 3rd layer over my decals, but it's the same process over and over. You want it to be about 2 sheets of paper thick. You don't want it running off your cup. You want it wet but not dripping wet, if that makes sense. So like, you want to be able to feel it. You'll be able to tell if you need some in this spot because your finger won't glide over smooth. This should be plenty. I just gotta kind of disperse it throughout the whole cup because there are some spots that are not covered or not as well covered. I have some drippage that I can put on the bottom. Normally I have paper to catch any drippage that does happen. And if you put too much, you can just use your finger to scrape, to rub it right off, and then you can put it back in the bottle, or I'll put it on the bottom. I'll just make sure my bottom is well covered. And that is it. I think we are well covered. After this dries for about 4 hours, I will give it a light sanding and apply 1 more layer. So it'll be 4 layers total once you've applied your decals. And that is it, guys. So I'll see you for the sanding and the last layer in a bit. Alrighty, we are ready to sand. So I'm going to take my cup off my turner. I've got my 400 grit sandpaper right here. And I am just going to lightly sand, not putting hardly any pressure. I'm just going to go around the whole cup. Now it's really important not to put a lot of pressure because you do have decals. You don't want to ruin your decals. So just light pressure. But don't forget your bottom. Pressure. Whole cup. With your 400 grit sandpaper. And that is it. I'm going to go rinse and I'll bring it back. Alrighty, we are back and rinsed off and ready for our last layer of Brite Tone. You want it to be no thicker than 2 sheets of computer paper. At this point, your cup should be smooth. Like, there should be no give at all. Your finger should run smoothly over it, no issues. It should have that nice glass-like shine to it, especially after this last layer. You do want it 2 sheets of paper thick. You don't want it so wet that it's running off, but you do want it wet. Don't want drippage. This is, I think it's got the perfect amount on. I think we are good. We are smooth. I'm just running any excess off onto the bottom. Cover the bottom really well. water cup, make sure we are completely covered and that there's no signs of drippage. Okay, I think we're good. So that is it. Now I'm gonna let it spin for an hour and then let it dry for, well, it's just gonna dry until it's ready to go to its new owner. And I ship mine off after 7 days. So within 7 days of the last coat is when I'm ready to ship. You can do it as soon as 4 days. I like to give it the few extra days just to cure and make sure it's good. It takes 30 days to fully cure, so you're like, make your customer aware that they should use it gently until it's fully cured. No soaking it or anything like that. But yeah, that's it. I'll see you guys in the next video. See ya.